Right, it's Thursday night football, and this is the Showdown breakdown. We've got a nice one going tonight. Ravens at the Dolphins. Lamar is back, Bobbywow.
He's back, baby. Back.
Yeah,
Probably could have been back last week. Should have been, but he's officially back this week.
We thought he was going to be back last week. It didn't work out. So obviously there's minor concerns about like, all right, how healthy is he? Is he going to do a lot of running? But overall, we kind of know what these teams are going to do. It's Thursday night football. We have a little bit of a chance here, I think, of this game popping a little bit better. A little bit, let's call it more than, actually, no, 51-point total is telling you what the story is. So Vegas looking for a high-scoring game here, Bobbywow. Last week, the Dolphins played well.
Yeah, they played. They did. It's kind of gross to say, but yeah, fine. They're fine.
It's a reminder. Yeah, it's just a reminder that, this team is still alive. They're still trying. They're still giving it their all. So, listen, I think that's exciting. Let's get into kind of the matchup tool here, Bobbywow, to start. And I think let's see if we can figure anything out about some of these usage patterns here. So for the Dolphins, last week you got the usual split between Achane and Gordon. It's coming in around 70-30. For more of the same, right? Gordon is fine and could sneak his way in there. And of course, Achane is the man.
Achane is the man. Yeah.
Essentially
a wide receiver and running back all in one.
Absolutely viable captain. I can't wait to see some of the ownerships on this one. But, I'll take Achane if he's not super high owned. It looks like they played Jalen Wright got a few snaps in last week. So I don't know. Do with that what you will. I don't really know why that's happening, but now you have to mildly pay attention to Jalen Wright as well. At tight end, it's just a disgusting mix of Connor Dulcich and some other guy, Hayden Rucci. Gross. There's my guy.
Gross, but that's a spot we have to pay some attention to. That's probably the turtley spot that needs some love.
The turds are right there. I guess, right? And, it seems like Connor's the only guy they're throwing to, so the other two are kind of just blocking.
Last week they threw to Connor just a little bit, no one else. But Dulcich does have some pass-catching chops. We saw him in Denver. I think it was Denver. God, it was probably 2 years ago at this point.
He was
he had some bigger guys. He was a hyped-up guy, but he did have some solid games, and, we at least know he can catch passes, so... Again, he's a turd, no doubt about it, but definitely want to think about those guys in your MME lineups.
Now, speaking of turds, the wide receiver group for Miami is a little, I'm going to call it more confusing. Jalen Waddle, the clear-cut WR1 right now. But you've got Malik Washington and Westbrook Akine coming in, getting about 65% snap counts. Malik got a bunch of targets last week. Even Westbrook Akine did. So these two turds are alive.
Yeah, and finally we got some consistency with that WR3 spot with Tyreek out. It was kind of like, who the heck is it going to be? It looks like it is Westbrook Akine kind of slotting in there as the official WR3. So Cedric getting some snaps, but Westbrook Akine is right there at WR3, along with Malik Washington, who, like you mentioned, 18% target share last week is nothing to pout at.
I mean, there's no doubt. And if you extrapolate this, one of the themes that we discuss here on the Where My Turds At show are turds that have delivered before. It was the same reason we got on to Kendrick Bourne a few weeks ago, because we were like, man, this is a guy who's put up big numbers in the National Football League at times. And I prefer names like that to random names I've never heard of that have never done that, but like we're hoping for it as a turd. And I'm going to put Nick Westbrook Akine in that category. Like we've seen Westbrook Akine win a slate in a main slate when he was back when he was on the Titans. Like that has happened. He has won us a slate before, which means he could do it again. Bobbywow, you know how I equate this? I do the UFC. I do the UFC breakdowns sometimes in the off season for DFS Army, and one of the things I talk about are like there's a couple things, like if they've done it before, they could do it again. Like one of the things I look for is if a guy has submitted to an opponent before, like he's been submitted, and they're probably going to submit again. Like that means that's something that happens with this guy, and it works, right? So when they go up against somebody who has submissions, I'm like, this guy likes to tap when he's getting choked. Like it's happened 4 times. It's probably going to happen today. And that's like one of those little angles that help you get on a spot that might not look as clear on paper. So Westbrook-Ikhine,
I like it.
Guy who has been submitted before, submit again.
Yes.
I don't really care too much for D. Eskridge, Taj Washington, or even Cedric Wilson here, but certainly it's noteworthy that Cedric Wilson got some snaps as well.
If there is anyone I'm going to consider, any WR4 turd, it is Cedric Wilson, because they did go out and get him. It kind of made his debut last week, 32% snap share. I think that could go up a little bit, but yeah, he's a big time turd.
There we go. All right, let's shift gears and take a look at the numbers for the Ravens. And of course, some of this stuff is going to be a little bit, changey just because it hasn't been Lamar. So now it's going to be Lamar. So some of these things could adjust a smidge, but I was really curious to see the running back snap counts. And I mean, it's pretty consistent on the season so far. It's mostly Henry, and then Justice Hill comes in sort of as a backup with now Keaton Mitchell being worked in. Keaton Mitchell was injured, remember, to start the season. He wasn't one of these guys, and now he's getting worked in a little bit. So 11%. So what I see with Keaton Mitchell is like a growing snap count. That's interesting, right? Especially last week's rush numbers, where he came in and every time he was in the game, they handed him the football. So unlike Justice Hill, who came in and, was used a little bit when he was in the game, but barely. Most of the work went to Keaton Mitchell last week. And the reason that interests me is because this game kind of projects similar. So we could get some garbage time run, and maybe they go with Mitchell instead of Justice Hill in this one. If that happens.
Could be. Yeah. And I think Keaton Mitchell is certainly the more explosive player we saw last week. He had some special teams plays where he looked very, very good. So, yeah, I would not be shocked if that's how things played out, if we do indeed get a blowout.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so scrolling down now, we've got the return of Isaiah Likely last week, and he was heavily used. I mean, he's right back to being the guy that he was, got the same snap count and similar targets to Mark Andrews last week, with even Charlie Kolar mixing in, not just for a ton of snaps. They basically had 2 tight ends on the field for at least half of the plays last week. Which, by the way, Bobbywow, is to be expected when the Ravens are playing from ahead, which is what this game projects for. We don't know if it will happen.
Yes.
So look for these tight ends to be on the field at an elevated rate in a game where the Ravens are favored.
Yeah, I think equally of note, equally as important is that, Mark Andrews' snap count didn't change a whole lot. So we saw Likely coming back. Mark Andrews, dipped just a tiny bit, but really he's right where he always is. It's 60% snap share and, a healthy target percentage.
Yep, that's exactly right. And so it does not change anything about Mark Andrews' role. It's just now there's another effectively wide receiver. And I think the guy who suffers the most from Isaiah Likely returning is probably more like a DeAndre Hopkins, who will get on the field less frequently. If they're running 2 wide, they are not. Hopkins, Tylan, those guys are not on the field in those scenarios. It's just Flowers and Bateman.
Yep. Yeah, we saw it last week. Hopkins, I think, had like 1 catch.
Yeah.
He's thrown 2 once, and it was a offensive pass interference that didn't get called, but I'm not salty about it.
Yeah. Now, that being said, Hopkins is a touchdown threat. He is probably the guy they're going to target. Think of him like almost like a Darren Waller for Miami when he was healthy for that 2-week stretch.
Yeah.
By the way, a longer stretch than I was expecting him to stay healthy for. In fairness, he outkicked the coverage. That guy.
Not only that, but he actually looked good when he was healthy too. So
he outkicked the coverage.
He impressed in multiple facets.
Good for him for getting paid. Good for that.
Thank you, Garth.
Yeah, and that's about it. Like Zay Flowers is now back to a crazy role. Zay Flowers, the top dog in this offense, and he was priced down on the main slate last week, but He's back. He's the main guy with Bateman as a touchdown upside secondary wide receiver. We know what to do.
Yeah, and I think with Bateman, he's been very quiet this season. This is exactly the type of game where Bateman comes alive and destroys lineups. He ends your night early on a big play. He is a guy. It's going to go. The field will be underexposed to him. I think he's a guy in tournaments I want to be overweight on. So we'll look at the numbers here, the ownership numbers and the salaries, but I feel like he is that quintessential showdown guy that seems to pop off in these types of games.
I love it. Yes, I agree. I love it. And
especially with Lamar coming back, I think that's a huge boost for Bateman.
Do we think that Bateman is a reasonable captain, like a GPP captain for this one?
He is going to be very low. Yeah, I think he's a deep, like we're talking like MME, 10% or captain at most. But yeah, I think in that scenario, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you do with a spot like that. Like we don't expect like some players like this to break the slate, but sometimes they do. And Bateman has that skill set. He has the skill set of a deep ball guy. He can get it done. I think Zay Flowers has that skill set. I mean, we've got, of course, so many potential captain. Actually, let's jump over to the Dom station and actually look at the ownerships at captain here. See, okay, all right. So as you can see here, and I would say sensibly blow this up, Bobbywow, but check this out. So in what I would say makes a lot of sense, Achane, Lamar, Zay Flowers, Henry, all about the same, 15%. Like those are the names that people are building around without like congealing around any one of them.
That's not surprising in terms of who the top four are. What's surprising to me is that Lamar isn't higher. People are I think they're concerned about the injury, and I can understand that, but Lamar would not be playing in this game if he wasn't fully healthy. Especially after they won last week. I promise. That guy has to be healthy. Yeah, I think he was ready to suit up last week, and they said, you know what? The Bears defense is missing their entire secondary. I think we can beat them. Let's rest Lamar so he's 110% the following game. That's what seemed to happen.
I fully agree. I don't think that the way the Ravens are, they don't take chances with injuries. They're actually overcautious. And I think we need to go into this game with the full blast assumption that Lamar is as healthy as any other game. There's no worries here, no concerns. Just play Lamar the same way you normally would. It is kind of
look at that props projection on him.
The what? Yeah, the props is great. I mean, this
juicy.
is it just changed. Look at that. See, by the way, how do you like that? Real time. That fucking number just changed right in front of our eyes, which is really cool. And one of the cool features of this tool and of the optimizer and the domination station in general, it's fed and these things adjust in real time. Really cool stuff. So we got Lamar, Devon, Zay Flowers, Derek. All these guys are slate breakers. I would say Waddle, slate breaker potential. And then I'm not really sure how I feel about some of these other ones. But here's Bateman at 1% owned. I think that's sneaky. Are there any other sneaky potential captains that aren't part of this sort of even? And I'll include Waddle in the like not sneaky, but rather expected. Anybody else like Malik Washington? I don't really feel that. Mark Andrews, I'm not super feeling that one either. Tanner Connor, zero chance I'm going to play any of that. So any of these other ones, even in your world of possibility to be a appropriate captain this week?
You talked about have they done it before? I think that's really, really a good exercise to run through in your mind. Mark Andrews is a guy that's done it before. Even with likely back, I think maybe the last showdown the Ravens were on this season, Mark Andrews was the nuts captain and MVP. So yes, I think Mark Andrews could get it done. Isaiah Likely at 3K is a crime. That is insanity. That's crazy cheap. I think Isaiah Likely, if you're trying to jam studs in, you could even make the case for him. And if you're running 150 lineups out. So yeah, I do. I think both those tight ends can get it done. You mentioned Waddle not being in there. He get it done. Bateman would be the other guy that I would say at 1%. Rashad Bateman, below 10K, captain price. That's another guy I'm gonna have some exposure to in tournaments.
So roll a little Likely in there, a little bit of Andrew, very little Andrews. I don't like the price, and then a little bit of Andrews, a little bit of Likely in there, and a little bit of Bateman as your GPP crazies.
But the price on Andrews really isn't bad at all. Look at Malik Washington. He's basically the same captain price as him. Props a full point higher, his projection.
I just think the Malik Washington thing is crazy, right? So that's more.
Maybe that's okay.
Yeah, so that price is absurd. But this is an expensive price for this kind of tight end. Like we've seen this style of tight end, like what Mark Andrews is, more priced around 5,500, that level. Like,
but keep in mind that's a captain price. He's 5K. Mark Andrews is 5K.
Okay, yeah. Oh, all right. Wait. Oh, I'm on the captain. Okay, there we go. All right, that makes more sense. Because I'm like, man, that actually seems pretty expensive. Okay, there we go. It's not as bad. 5. All right. I didn't even see that. Okay, that's
and look at Likely at 2K.
Likely at 2K is crazy. Actually, that's probably our like top pay down. I was thinking it was going to be Keaton Mitchell, but I think Likely. I want to explain something. Let me explain something, Bobbywow, that a football phenomenon real quick, because this happens and people then are always shocked. But I want to explain a football phenomenon that happens in these games, and we've seen it a bunch of times this year. So it's just for everybody to open their minds to this. There are situations where, let's say, a team like the Ravens in this spot. Oh, we saw this with the Dolphins too, where they find like a hole in the defense, and it just ends up like we've seen it with Likely specifically, where there was a game where the defense just could not figure out how to get him covered. They couldn't figure out how to get the guy covered. So randomly, when a player spikes from his usual 5 or 6 or 4 targets a game, and all of a sudden he has a 10 or 12 target game, it's and you're like, oh man, I can't believe I didn't play it. Look what's happening. Once you start to see it, it continues. Like every now and again, the team finds an exploit. And that's what tends to lead to like the Isaiah Likely being the nuts tight end randomly. You're like, what the fuck's going on? Why are they throwing to him all of a sudden? It's because they discover a hole in the defense that the defense is not able to adjust to. And so all of a sudden, then you get this game where like some rando TE2 gets 10 targets. You're like, well, how does that even happen? That's why it happens. They just find a hole. So if that hole is found here, that could be the big game for Likely or Andrews. Like that's why those things happen.
Yeah. Yep. And just way too cheap for Likely. 2K is, I cannot believe he's not way higher owned, at least projected. And again, I think, one thing that people kind of forget here is that this is a very different offense with Lamar under center. And Lamar is not a running back. Okay. Lamar has shown, especially the last 2 seasons, that he can throw the football about as well as anybody in this league. So I do think it's a major boost for guys like Likely and Bateman that Lamar's back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't underestimate that.
By the way, leave it to McNasty, who is an awesome commenter, to actually pull up the name that sparked the thought in my mind and like that mental note that I wanted to relay. It was when Freiermuth went. You're like, who the fuck is that guy, right? Freiermuth is dog shit all year, and all of a sudden, one random game, it's like, why do they keep throwing to him? It's because they found a hole in the defense, and they're just going to exploit it, and that's what leads to some random name. So we gotta allow our minds to believe that this can happen, and it does happen enough. Like, I don't know, it's just another rant about why things happen in football games that seem out of the blue. That's why, because Freiermuth all of a sudden just could not be covered by whatever that team was. And all of a sudden you get this
Bengals.
crazy classic. Well, the Bengals have a lot of holes in that defense. There's so many holes in that defense. It's like a wedge of Swiss cheese. Oh shit. Came up with that one on the fly. All right. Anywho, now that I've done that, by the way, Bobbywow, the reason to the audience, guys, the reason Bobbywow looks so glorious today, shining, is because we're in high pumpkin latte season, and the pumpkins are everywhere. What do you have planned with the kids? I'm sure you're very excited for trick-or-treating with the boys.
Oh, we got trick-or-treating going on, yeah, of course. And we actually carved pumpkins a couple days ago. I don't know. Have you ever eaten pumpkin seeds? Like, you ever taken them out?
My wife does that. She'll toast them up, and then we'll have the seed. It's not my favorite thing, but yeah, she does that.
They're kind of gross. For whatever reason, my kids like it. They like the idea of them, and then they eat one, and they're like, oh, this kind of sucks. But so we did the pumpkin seeds and all that. So yeah, we're ready. We got the front yard decorated. We're pumped.
So I'm going to remind everyone that if they wanted to sign up for DFS Army, this is where you want to do this right now. We have our 10% off code Geek, but more importantly, and this is the key. The cost of a DFS Army VIP subscription, where you get everything. You get the domination station. NBA is going nuts right now. We had another big winner last night. It's been a week of NBA. We've had 3 or 4 tournament takedowns already, and it's less than a week. And the reason I always mention this is because the cost of a DFS Army subscription for VIP, everything, that's what, eight pumpkin spice lattes, about $80 a month.
Yeah, there you go.
Give up 8 pumpkin spice lattes a month to crush at DFS. It's worth it. Be part of the community, part of the team. Bobby, would you give up 8 pumpkin spice lattes?
You know what? I would.
That's what I'm saying. And that is something that you love. So I mention it because it's very important to understand. This is serious stuff. Do you give out full size or mini size candy bar? Dude, I give out the minis. I'm keeping it real.
Okay, seriously.
I'm keeping it real. I give the minis out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I want to know what I really do, Bobbywow? After about an hour and a half,
a popcorn ball person or whatever.
No. After about an hour and a half, I just shut the front porch light. All right, I'm keeping it real.
Oh,
I'm keeping it real.
You're a Scrooge.
Once it's dark out, I don't want teens coming to my house. There are little kids that come around. They're super cute. I enjoy them. The minute it goes to high schoolers, don't come to my house.
Here's the thing, though. They're coming to your house. You might as well at least have some lights on.
Nope.
So that you don't risk people
getting crazy. If they come to the house, they come to the house. But I turn the light off to say you're not necessarily invited.
Teens pay attention to that?
No, they don't care.
That makes them angry. That makes them angry. They're going to come to your house and do. You need to just put a candy bowl out. It says take one. If they take it all, they take it all.
I tried that one year, and literally the first kid that came, I watched him on the Ring camera grab the bowl and dump the whole thing
in the Ring. Then come on,
the whole bowl just right in there.
Oh,
in the Ring.
See, that's what happens when you live in East Coast.
All right, let's talk about the flex positions here. Let's get into it. So, like the flex ownership, I'm just want to. It's not that much HN. I mean, we love Flowers. Tua, not that high owned. What do you think of Tua on the slate? Like in general, is he a must-have?
A must-have? No, not a must-have. But I think he's a solid play. I mean, the Ravens secondary is still kind of sputtering. They played much better. The defense is getting healthier. Okay, last week they got much healthier. They had Roquan on the field. That made a big difference. But this defense is still vulnerable. So I think Tua's actually, I mean, he's firmly in play. Definitely not a must, though.
The way that DraftKings did the salaries for this one is really, really interesting. Part of the reason why you're not seeing massive ownership across the board is because of how the salary. Look at all these like 9 and 10 and 11K guys. Bobby, I don't think I've seen this before. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. There's no way you could plug all of these names like HN, Lamar, and Derrick Henry. There's no way you could get all 3 in the lineup. DraftKings did set this up really interesting in terms of the way the salary is structured. So I'm going to be really interested to try to craft some lineups later and see how they look, where you're trying to cram in. You want HN, you want Derrick Henry, you want Lamar, you want Zay.
It does feel like you're picking between Lamar and Henry. Remember last season when both guys were just like, having elite seasons? Derrick Henry looked like he was 20 again. And you could plug. I don't think that's the case. At least it has not been this season. So I think that's where you're kind of choosing between the two, is Lamar and Henry.
You almost have to do one or the other and not both, if you think this game is going to be competitive.
But that's kind of what we talked about, those turds and like what could happen in a game like this. That's what makes rostering a guy like Isaiah Likely, a captain, so intriguing, is because maybe in that scenario you actually can fit all 3 of those studs in there. Not saying it's likely to happen. No pun intended. It is
likely to happen, by the way. I love Likely. 2K Likely is probably the best play on this entire slate.
No, I mean a captain. I'm talking about a captain.
Oh, I don't know about that. But yes,
what a captain, you jam in these 3 studs. But yeah,
what a sneaky play though. What a sneaky play to put Likely at captain for almost nothing, and then you can afford all the other studs in the lineup. Sneaky, Bobbywow.
Interested to see how it looks.
Very sneaky. I think it's sneaky, and I like it. So you got Malik Washington here, 4,800. Yeah, I mean, that seems really good too. The guy's getting a 20% target share right now. So great. No worries there. Likely is way too low owned at 21%. I need to shut the fuck up. Can we not? I almost, can I not? We're not going to talk about him anymore. I don't want to raise that. Sorry, guys. Everybody's like, shh. All right, we said it. He's the best play on the slate.
But in fairness, he's been he's been hurt, but he's been bad when he's been in. So I kind of get it. Like, people are just not willing to go there, and that's fine. But that is a risk I'm willing. That's a big time risk I'm willing to take.
You got to take your chances, and that's a spot to take a shot. I think the other spots to take a shot are names we already talked about. Westbrook Akine at 3,200, acceptable.
Yes.
Tanner
Connor at 2,800. Gross.
Totally cool.
Acceptable.
Fine, or I'll call that fine. And then Keaton Mitchell down here at 1,400, a much less good play, by the way, than likely, but still somebody I want to have in my mix.
And can I just call attention back one more time? I know I've said his name a bunch. Rashad Bateman at 10% ownership in the flex is just simply too low. He is the WR2. I know he's been bad. I get it. He's a WR2, and he's much better with Lamar under center. So, again, 10% is crazy low, is it not?
I mean, I don't like the price, so I kind of get why. His prop, but it doesn't matter what the prop is. Just keep in mind, he only needs the touchdown, and it just negates all of it. But his prop is not very good relative to like other guys. Like, we get the same prop,
similar prop with a 2K. 100%. I fully agree with you. The prop isn't great, but I'm just saying at 10%, a big play guy that has a touchdown on one catch.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely going overweight on that.
Yeah. So I want to have it because guys like Bateman and even Westbrook Akine, it only takes one reception and they've gotten there. One big pass, one big play. So Ollie Gordon, 4,400, acceptable. I'm just trying to think of anybody down here in the low owned zone that we would even have any interest in at all.
Yeah, I think Cedric Wilson is a guy that I'll have a few shares of in MME at 800. He's pretty cheap. And you mentioned Keaton Mitchell. I think Dulcich would be the other guy at 600 that I'll have a couple of shares of, just because he's done it before, right?
Yeah, or just don't play any of those turds and play Likely and Bateman, likely mostly, to get that salary savings.
Likely and Andrews are 7K total.
The combo, that's right.
Which is
they insane. Make for one quality tight end.
Yep, and they're two quality tight ends, which is just wild.
Let me just do a little experiment here. You put Likely in, and you can afford all these guys. Look at that, 9,400. So you need one more. Less than
Andrews.
Like, I don't know if it'd be Andrews necessarily, but from here, it's like, let's have a party. Zay, fine. Achan, of course.
Lamar.
Got to get Lamar in there. Or Derek or Lamar, one of the two.
Lamar with Likely a captain and Andrews up there and Flowers. Give me Lamar.
And here you finish it off with a Bateman. So this is a little too Baltimore heavy. I don't love it. I'm going to make an adjustment, but like I'd probably switch this up to maybe like a Parker Washington or Malik Washington and do something a little more balanced. But yeah,
I'd swap Zay for Waddle instead. But yeah, either way, I like it.
Or something like that. Yeah. So, and look, there's 2,200. So there are ways to do it if you put Likely in there. But like I said, that wouldn't be my first choice. I think we want to cycle through. Let's see what it looks like when you put an expensive captain in.
Go Lamar in there.
I would rather even do Achan, but
sure. Yeah, either way.
Yeah, even it doesn't really matter that, like, in the end, doesn't matter that much. So you get, I don't know.
But you would say, would you say those are the first two guys you're throwing in your lineup if you're building like a single entry or a hybrid lineup?
I think it's Achan for sure. And then it's a question for me of, is it Lamar or Derrick Henry? And I think if Achan is up there, we probably want to maybe lean a little more on Lamar than Henry. Keep in mind with Derrick Henry being the same price as Lamar Jackson, that it requires at least one touchdown and probably 100 yards to be in the conversation for outscoring Jackson on a slate like this.
Yeah, and I will say the TD prop on Henry is pretty wild at minus 240.
There you go. I mean, Henry is absolutely expected to score once and maybe twice here. Like I would think the 2 touchdown number is probably like plus 120 or some number that's not that crazy.
Yeah, it's plus 210.
All right, still all right.
But
it's
still
not great, but still a reasonable number.
Yeah.
So Henry 2 touchdowns in the conversation. He probably needs 2 touchdowns in order to make value. And remember, Miami can't stop the run.
Except for last week when they completely shut down Chalky Bijan.
Yeah, but that was you have to throw that out because the quarterback for the Falcons was absolute steaming heap of dog shit level. Like Kirk Cousins is finished. The dude,
fine.
No, he was a steaming heaping pile of turd. That's why that game went terrible. Guy could not play, and it made it look like Miami defense had gotten better. They haven't. Nothing changed. It's the same crapola defense that they've been sporting all year. They're not stopping Derrick Henry in this game. No. They are not stopping him.
The only quarterback worse than Cousins last week was Dalton.
Dalton was worse. Oh my gosh. Talk about making me feel sick over I faded Cousins for Dalton.
I know you did.
You did. But wait, it's still good DFS thought. Cousins was like 9% owned. It was so stupid. And Dalton was 0.4% owned. If I was right, you know what I mean? Like if I was right.
You know what they say though. Even you put lipstick on a turd, but it's still a turd.
What's that?
So you could put lipstick on a turd, but it's still a turd.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean? So, but if that was right, it would be really good. All right, let's see what it looks like. So again, I go right back to likely because that's our like lock button. I almost think like likely has to be in. I'm going to be so much above 20%.
I will have, yeah. And look, he could fail. He could still fail at 2K, but it's really tough. Like he would have to completely bomb. I will be over 50% exposure. Unlikely.
Dixon, we're working on a new exciting opening for the Tournament Tactics show. You might want to tune in tomorrow. That's all I'm saying, Dixon.
What's going on with this picture? How does this picture? What is happening? I don't even know. Forget I asked. I don't want to know.
He looks like a trip to McDonald's, but when you're in like a southwestern state. Like a smiling face. I say it because here in the Northeast, you would never get a smile from a McDonald's worker in a million years. Like I've been to McDonald's. I've never seen a smile on a McDonald's worker.
Like someone that handed out a sweet tea saying like, bless your soul.
Yeah. Or like a Chick-fil-A worker, they're all so nice and smiling. And the McDonald's people, they're just miserable. They absolutely are. Have you ever been to McDonald's?
Yes, we love McDonald's. We love McDonald's.
In Illinois, it's the same. You're not getting a smiling person in Chicago. You're getting a miserable fuck at the throwing your food at you.
No, you're the same. Okay, sorry.
Where
are you living, man? You're shutting your lights off for trick or treaters. You're avoiding McDonald's because of the frowns. You gotta get out of wherever you are. Okay?
When somebody knocks on your door in New York, when somebody knocks on your door, it's like a 50-50 shot they're here to rob you. Even on Halloween.
I'm still appalled you're turning your lights off, man. That's an invitation.
It's Bobbywow.
For shenanigans.
Like, I'm tired. I'm going upstairs. I'm making lineups. Do I need to run down every 5 minutes to give somebody a piece of candy? Like I'm busy.
Lights off is an invitation for debauchery.
We don't have debauchery. We don't get debauchery in this town. There's none of that here. We don't have that.
Okay.
Thank goodness. As I say that, and then the debauchery ensues. All right, so let's finish up that. We got 6K left. Bobbywow, we need another cheapie to kind of push this one along. So when you play H.N. Jackson, give me another name Is it Keaton Mitchell? Likely and Mitchell?
No, it's not Mitchell. Mitchell is click on Mitchell's stats. Can we just please? I need you to see this because I'm worried about how high on Mitchell you are.
Yeah, he didn't do much, but he wouldn't play that much so far. Yeah,
he had 125 yard. He broke off a run for 25 yards.
Yeah,
against the Bears, who were a college football team defense.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, just be careful.
He
in garbage run, he could be the Millie winner. But
Ravens defense.
To me,
where do I go? I need another like in the 4K range.
I trust Mark Andrews more than I do any wide receiver on the slate outside of Jalen Waddle and Zay Flowers.
All right, let's go. If we go double tight end,
most of my lineups will have double tight end.
Okay, interesting. That is an interesting approach to it. Let's see here. From here, yeah, handing out DK points. Crowns. I give crowns to the kids. DK crowns. Take 50,000 crowns. I like to teach the local kids to gamble.
Sharp.app/geek, kids.
Speaking of gambling, wait, we're about to get a Sharp app update. All right, how about this? I mean, that fit together. It's a lot of Baltimore.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I feel like this is a really nice Baltimore onslaught. Not that I think Baltimore needs to be onslaughted, but
the biggest problem with this slate is there is a massive gap from Zay to kicker. You're talking over 4K from Zay to kicker in price jump.
There's no available players.
It's Bateman would be the only guy that's in between there, and he's rostered, but otherwise there's nobody.
Yeah,
that is partially why Bateman's so low owned.
Yeah, he falls in the weird spot, and the haves and have-nots on the slate. It's more dramatic than I thought. I actually do though, Bobbywow. I think this plays into the possibility of a cheaper. Man, if you could get right with a likely up there, or even an Andrews.
Even Andrews. Yeah. Again, last time we did this, it was like 3 weeks ago. You even called it out. You said you were so excited about Andrews. You said you're using him on FanDuel as well, and he was the nuts FanDuel MVP.
I know, that was crazy.
He smashed. So yes, he is capable, 100%.
What I didn't understand is how the fuck didn't I win that one? I had some Andrews lineups, even on FanDuel, and I did not win that showdown.
It was a small no for a bigger yes tonight. That's what it was.
Even Bateman. So, guys, my final take here on DraftKings is there is real edge to playing a cheaper captain and having it even mildly work. This is not one of those slates, Bobbywow, where I think that I need like a 25 out of my. I need to outscore a lot of the other guys. I think if you get like an 18 out of Andrews or likely at captain, or even a 15-16, that might be enough because it's
likely.
Yeah,
you get 15 with likely. That's going to be enough.
It probably gets you there, right? We got to do that. We got to build some likely lineups up top because look how different this looks. I'm sorry to harp on it.
You're done talking about it. I thought you were done bringing them up. I thought you were done bringing them up.
I am, but I want to harp on it just a smidge more. Look at the difference in the lineup when you have that guy up top. It literally opens up.
I'll get Loop out of there.
Whatever the hell you want, or get Loop out. I can do that too. So we can. There's so many 9,400. Again, in this weird dollar amount, but still, it really does open up one more of these studs, which is go to Derrick Henry, and then, like I said, you're in no man's land. So I like it. Any sub 2K in play, Ryan Jacob, just checking in, obviously, but I think Keaton Mitchell is the sub 2K guy. That is him and what you'd say Cedric Wilson.
It's gross. I don't even know. I think Dulcich is a guy I would look at, again, as a super deep punt. I think Cedric Wilson is another, super, super deep punt, and Mitchell. Those are probably the three guys for me that I would consider.
Has Dulcich been on the team all year?
No. He's been on the practice squad, I think, for a little bit. They signed him to the active roster last week. So look, it's a punt. It's a, MME punt. You have 2 or 3 shares at 150 lineups, but those are the three guys that I'll be, throwing darts at.
And I want to apologize if this does happen. that I will take full responsibility for Likely's increased ownership.
At captain or not, though, guys, please just play him in the flex. Please.
I just want the DFS Army crew.
Yes.
To be doing these things. I don't need non-DFS, but if you're watching this and you're not part of DFS Army, I will say this. Just as a watcher of the show, we want you guys to do well as well, and of course, eventually become a part of our community. So, hey, if ever one of these plays works out, you do well, let us know. And as a thank you, some people are like, oh, I want to send you something. Never send, just get signed up at DFS Army, become one of our community. We want you to add your uniqueness, assimilate it.
That's what you always say, right? It's your motto. Never send, just befriend.
We're like the Borg over here. We're going to assimilate your knowledge into the collective.
And look, when we get it wrong, you can harp on us too. When Isaiah Likely scores 1.4 points tonight, let us have it.
They will.
2K, that is,
yeah.
You can't pass that spot up, man. You just can't.
Guys, as a quick reminder, before we jump over to FanDuel, the Sharp app and the Sharp app ARB tool continue to print money for sports bettors. I cannot recommend this enough. It's helping me level out all of my sports betting. I'm always green because no matter what happens on my actual bets, my ARBs are always printing and adding positivity to my results. Guys, this is the live tool right now. I just literally opened it up to the Proptimizer tool just so you can see that there are always arbitrage opportunities at all times. Right now, between FanDuel and DraftKings, if you go and you bet team total touchdowns, Giants over 2.5, which I kind of like, and Giants under 2.5, which I don't like, minus 110 plus 120, which means that you can literally bet both sides of this. One on FanDuel, one on these are not random books, FanDuel and DraftKings, and you will make a 2% margin no matter what happens. Now, that's not a margin that I normally eat for ARBs, but it's still money that you can print right now. It's still sitting there, and there are 10 of them sitting here just all the time, and new ones constantly popping up. This tool is amazing, and I want everybody to try it for free. Literally for free for a week. So if you go to sharp.app/geek, it will activate a 7-day free trial to try this and all the plus EV tools. Bobbywow, I showed you the ARB tool just now. The Proptimizer tool has been on fire for NBA. We use projections from EV Analytics, Derek Carty's system for NFL and NBA, the most time-tested, accurate model that we know of in existence. We have a second model in there as well to compare and contrast. Check this out. Even right now, you've got NBA props galore. These have been hitting at a very high rate. So I do want you guys to check out Sharp.
Drop another little thing. I've been using the Proptimizer for NBA, but also for college football, which I don't think you can bet, right?
I can't bet on player props in college football.
But the player props in college football, because there's been college football on every night that NFL is not on. So I'm starving for football. So I'm like, yeah, what the heck? I'll try to. They are on fire. The Proptimizer's on fire with college football stuff. So
I can't speak to it because I can't bet them, but I'm not surprised. There are massive margins, so if you can bet on college football. But the way I use this tool is so simple. I literally just go through the biggest edges. As long as the market is something that I consider a normal market, like I'm not going to do weird blocks or anything weird, but like points, rebounds, assists, normal markets for NBA, normal markets for NFL, receiving yards, receptions, quarterback passing yard, those kind of markets. I just go through and I literally just bet now, open the ticket, bet them all. I bet them all.
Yep.
So I just strongly recommend if you're a sports bettor and you want to bet with an edge, with a mathematical edge at all times, and that's really what Sharp app delivers. It makes sure that every bet that you put in has a mathematical edge in your favor. It's like counting cards in blackjack. We're finding moments in time when the edge shifts to the end users, to the bettor's favor. That is how you want to be a sports bettor. I don't want to have degenerates. I want winners around me. I don't want degenerates. I don't want to hear about anybody degenning on sports betting. I want you to do it smart. I want to do it sharp, have fun with it, but bet with a mathematical edge at all times, guys. Sharp.app/geek is the code. All right, FanDuel time. Let's go to the domination station, and I'm going to load up FanDuel, and I want to see what the captain or the MVP exposures look like. currently as we sit here. So here we go. Bobbywow, you said that there wasn't enough Lamar on DraftKings in the MVP or in the captain, but there's plenty of Lamar on FanDuel, 40%.
Yep, here's my Lamar people. Yep, there we go.
You know who's not
a lot?
I think Tua at 3% is a little crazy.
That's insane.
I know you're not going to let that stand.
That's crazy. That is crazy. We always say it. Anytime a quarterback or running back is sub 10% on FanDuel, they're worth a look. Tua is absolutely worth a look.
Yeah. Worth a look. I don't know. I love it. No, but he was a nuts quarterback in tournaments literally just last week, by the way. No one played him, so they didn't know it.
That's wild. I didn't even know that until right now.
Yeah, he was the nut quarterback last week. Tua went crazy.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Check this out. I mean, he put up such a good score. Yeah, I'm telling you, no one realized it because no one played him. Yeah, he put up a 25 for that price point, and it was just the nuts play. It was I believe he was under 5K on the slate.
Yeah, 4 TDs. Holy cow.
He needs to throw for 4 touchdowns, though, to get to this level, which is always a concern, right? Or massive yardage.
Right, because he has 0 rushing upside. Literally
but by the
0.
way, that's in play. Ravens defense is very, very exploitable. As exploitable as any defense at times.
They're getting healthier, but yes, they are still exploitable in the secondary.
Yeah. Back to FanDuel. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Domination station. So Lamar, Derrick Henry, Achane, I think we all agree these are good captain choices.
Yep.
Got Flowers in there. Just okay. Waddle in there. Just
struggle with Flowers on FanDuel, but he's cheap. Flowers is cheap.
Pricing is reasonable enough that it's playable. No, barely any Tua. The problem with Tua is if Tua is getting it done, one of Lamar or Derrick Henry is getting it done more. That's my issue there. There's no version of this game playing out where the Ravens aren't answering aggressively.
Probably. I mean, anything can happen on a showdown game, but yeah, I think you're right.
Let me ask you this: beyond the top group, is there any other captain possibility that we need to really pay attention to?
It's tough on FanDuel to venture this low at MVP just because you have that half point per reception versus the full point, and that really kind of limits the ability for some of these pass catchers to get there. So they are cheaper, and the new format on FanDuel that matches DraftKings does kind of favor wide receivers, pass catchers more than it typically would. But again, still half point per reception, that kind of dings you. So it's tough for me to make a solid case for any of these guys. And we saw Andrews do it, right? A couple weeks ago. Maybe Zay, Zay's cheap enough at 14.7 to consider. He's got a solid prop projection, almost 20 points. But probably not for me. I'm kind of sticking with that top 3, and then Tua is the guy that I'll be going to. That's extremely low owned.
So my build out off of that with Lamar at 40% and Derrick Henry 21%. How do you feel about Lamar and Derrick Henry combined on this in the same lineup, keeping in mind that salaries are very restrictive on this slate to where you can't really just play all the studs? So how do you feel about that combination? Is it acceptable?
Yeah, I don't like it. I certainly don't like it, but Miami's been bad enough, to the point where both these guys could get it done. They haven't gotten it done yet this season together, but they really haven't been healthy together very much either. So and I say that, yes, you could play them together just because could you not see a game where the Dolphins just look like crap again? And, Waddle has 5 catches for 60 yards and Achane has 9 catches for 50 yards. On FanDuel, that doesn't necessarily get you there. Yeah. So I do think you can make it in a Ravens onslaught scenario. Yeah, absolutely. Both guys could be in.
Ravens onslaught is a real possibility here. Remember how bad Miami's not been good. Listen, I like them a little better at home. They're fairly healthy. There's no reason why they shouldn't have a quality game.
Coming off a win too, that they have a little bit of momentum for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. So it's not like I expect them to be completely incompetent at home again against not a very good defensive team. But that doesn't mean they can't be terrible. They definitely can. So that is within the range of shit that could happen on this slate for sure. In my mind. All right, so let's shift gear then. If we're gonna stick with primarily these three, and then maybe roll a little Zay in there just for shits and gigs. Do we want to like roll just a little taste of Mark Andrews, or it's too cute doing it again?
If you're running 150 lineups out there, yeah, I would say 5% of Mark Andrews is worth it. Not going to kill you. Get a little bit of leverage on the field, but I wouldn't go much more than that.
Yeah, and on the flip side, with the Lamar lineups, with that much 40-50% projected ownership, I would just caution everybody to keep in mind that virtually every version of a Lamar lineup will be used. So if I'm doing that, there is some benefit, I would say, to either making sure that those Lamar lineups have like some ownership caps, and that they're pulling like not the most common combinations. Earlier this season, Bobbywow, I literally won a showdown on FanDuel, and I lost money in that contest because I ran 150. Like, I won one, and I only still got back, like, I don't know, I think it was a $3. So it was 450 in, and I still only got back like 320 out. And that's with a first placer. So like, if Lamar wins in sort of a chalky Lamar build, well, let's find what that chalky Lamar build is. But if Lamar wins, actually, before we do that, I want to look at the flex spots, and then we'll get into it. But if Lamar wins with a chalky build, you're probably not going to walk away making much money if you max enter it. Probably not. Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind. Bobbywow, let's talk about the flex spots here. Is there anybody? So we already kind of talked about a little bit about who we like, but let's kind of adjust that for DraftKings just a smidge. I see Likely at 3,800, super cheap.
Bateman at 5K. Bateman again, 5K is cheap.
Ooh, yeah, I like that price for Bateman even more. 14% owned. Gordon could get a touchdown.
Yeah, he's he could, but he's more expensive. He's more expensive than Bateman, or the same price.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I mean, anybody can get it done. I like Bateman a lot more.
Look at Ollie Gordon. He's priced more. Yeah, he could get a touchdown, but my gosh, that's tough to make the case for him over Bateman.
For me, anybody else?
The prop projection.
Yeah, I
Westbrook Akine. Westbrook Akine is the other guy that I would have my eye on here at 3,400.
Yeah, get turd exposure.
You talked about it with Lamar. If you have Lamar in your lineup, you're going to want, and you're looking for a takedown, you're going to want a guy like Cedric Wilson or Greg Dulcich, one of these super turds, to try and make sure you're a little bit unique. Otherwise, you're going to share any tournament win.
Tylan Wallace.
Yeah. God, he's gross, but we've seen it.
Somehow Zach Wilson has a projection.
I was going to say, I didn't even realize he was the back of Miami. That's crazy. It's taunting you. That's a trick, a Halloween trick for you.
I mean, I think we could all agree that
oh, no.
Tua is a risk.
Okay.
Of getting hurt in game. Like, that's a serious Tua is always an injury risk. I don't want to see it. I hope it never happens. I don't want to ever see it. I don't want to see him bump his head again, but like, he is a risk of coming out of a game all the time. But the problem is, I don't think even Wilson at 8K, if he comes in, does not make it.
Let me just put it this way. If Wilson was the starting quarterback at 8K, I would still have question marks about playing him. So
yeah, I'm not that interested, even if he was starting. So that's
no, thank you.
Not something I'm going to get super excited about. All right, let's jump over to FanDuel Golden Duel, and let's see about how a lineup looks. When you plug in any of these, lock button pay-ups. So let's start with the best of them, Lamar, right? And let's kind of get a feel for what most of the lineups will look like from here. So I don't know. You get Lamar in there. You kind of want to get HN. I'm already out of money. Likely. All right. Wait a second. Likely opens it up. So we know about, Westbrook Akine, but for our chalk pay down, I would go Likely. Now we're up to 7,900. Okay. Got some kickers. Got some players here that can work. If I take a second cheapie like a Bateman, that puts me back up in the zone of quality players. Not really. Yeah. This one is kind of like, you know what, Bobbywow?
It's tough.
Yeah, this is giving me the same vibes as FanDuel with all these super studs. You're all right. Zay Flowers at 9,800, and then Mark Andrews. I guess something like that could work.
So many Baltimore wide receivers.
It's too many Baltimore
So many pass
wide
catchers.
receivers. Yeah, this is ridiculous. So no, actually, I don't think Bateman and Flowers do well together. So if I was doing that,
can you get out to Waddle?
Yeah, you really want to get to Waddle or like a Tua or something like that. And if you do that, like I can even go all the way up to Derrick Henry. You can do Malik Washington there. It's not the easiest. Let's see here. What if I did Lamar and Derrick Henry and Achane, all the good guys, likely Bateman, 6,200, final spot, Ravens, Ollie, Tanner.
Ugh.
Bam.
That's the most acceptable.
The onslaught. I don't like this either, though. Why are they all fucking Ravens players? Why is this happening?
Because the Dolphins stink.
Yeah, but they're at home. They're going to do their thing.
Oh, I know.
Get a kicker in there, too, by the way. Don't sleep on Tyler Loop. Westbrook-Akine. Yeah, it's going to be tough to play the combination of Lamar. I'm telling you, on both sides, it's tough to play Lamar, Henry, and Achane together. It does not really do that well. I would rather do something like this, or even go up to, you know what? I would probably do Tua in the lineup rather than Waddle, and kind of do something a little bit more like that. Who's the other guy that plays with Tua? Parker or something or another? Let's see. Malik
Washington. You got Westbrook-Akine.
All right, this kind of works. This works a little bit. This works a little better. How about that?
There you go.
Lamar, Bateman, likely.
I like that. I like that.
Tua, Malik, and Achane. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of fun. All right.
There'll be a billion people with that lineup probably because it spends every dollar, but it's solid.
It's not exactly going to win a tournament, but it's at least this gives us a pretty good example of a nice balance. This is what I would call a balanced lineup. Got Achane, Tua in there, a pass catcher with Tua, and you've got Lamar, likely, and Bateman. So Lamar with two pass catchers. It fades Derrick Henry. Do I want to fade Derrick Henry? No. Love Derrick Henry, but you could kind of, when we build our Henry lineups, we'll build them different. With a Henry lineup, I might want like a Ravens defense in there or something else like that. Or maybe I'd get rid of like, so many pass catchers. Like you don't want Henry in there with Zay Flowers and Bateman. So yeah, this one should be fun.
This is going to be a fun one to build. Yeah, absolutely.
Going to be hard to get unique, but that's the challenge, especially on FanDuel. That's always the challenge. So, all right, Bobby. Well, I think that's it. I think we got this one covered pretty well. I'm ready for tonight. I'm excited for this game right now. Finally, we might get some. I don't know about finally, but we might get some exciting offense for this one. No one really see
51-point total.
Love
to see it. I said love to see the 51-point total. That's solid.
Yeah. Don't always see that on a Thursday night.
No.
So again, if we're playing towards that big total, we want to build more balance, like what you're seeing on the screen here. So just be aware of that in building tonight. Get your helmets on the top of the leaderboards, guys.
Yep.
Miami, beautiful day in sunny Florida, sunny South Florida. It's raining and gross here where I am. It's raining and gross. All right, guys. Thanks for
Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, happy Halloween. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow. Tournament Tactics, a special Halloween edition of Tournament Tactics. And there is a rumor that Bobby and I are going to be wearing matching costumes. There's a rumor going around.
There have been some murmurs, yeah.
You got to be here for that. That's Fridays at 5, right here on DFS Army YouTube channel. Guys, I'm going to request, if you hung with us for this long and you haven't already done so, I checked the metrics on the YouTube, and like only 30% of the people watching these videos are subscribed to the channel. So I'm going to implore you, hit the old subscribe button. It's the free subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You'll get notified when our videos go live. But more importantly, it just makes it more likely that the YouTube algorithms will pop our videos up when you're on YouTube scrolling around looking for DFS advice. So that's what we're here to give. We have nonstop shows here. The NBA show's crushing it. By the way, we had another NBA takedown and a letter from the watcher. Thank you so much. I watched the show, the pregame show, and I did this or that. NBA has been spectacular to start the season at DFS Army, especially in the Discord and in our DFS community where, B-Dub's spitting fireballs. Bob too, but B-Dubs has been really spitting fireballs like finding $3,200 turds, putting up 30s and 40s. It's been crazy.
Bob and Mutt, yeah, the whole crew is so good, man.
Tijuana Madman was like either in on our conversation before the show or something, but I think he figured out our costumes. All right. Good luck tonight, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for Tournament Tactics. Helmets up. Let's crush another showdown. Take care, everyone.